Imagine for the rest of 2021, like whatever goal you have, like say you just have one goal that you want to stick to, imagine for the rest of 2021 you stuck to it, like you committed to this goal and you just stuck to it unapologetically, you made no excuses, you committed to it. What would you look like? Like what would you feel like? Like aren't you curious to know? Like I'm so curious to know, like if I stick to like this one goal I have for the rest of 2021, what will I look like? Like where will I be in life? Like you don't know. And that's why I think it's so important to have that curious mindset of like what will I be like what will I feel like, versus like, oh, I have to do it, I have to commit to it, or else I'm gonna be a failure. Like just be curious, like what would it be like if us girls like in 2021 we just invested in ourselves, we just focused on ourselves, you know? What would we be like? Hello, welcome to my video. Happy Sunday. So in this video I'm going to talk about why in 2021 every girl should invest in herself and focus on herself. So I want to start with an analogy. So imagine you spent an entire year working on this art piece that's your masterpiece, and you've carefully chosen every single color and like every single material that you use and like all the ingredients, like it's literally your masterpiece, you know? And because you've dedicated so much time and effort and you've made so many sacrifices on this masterpiece, you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna price it at 500k. And imagine someone comes along and they want to buy it for like 300k or like 400k or like 450k, but you're like, no, it's 500k. It costs what it costs. I know the effort and the sacrifices and the dedication I put to this art piece, therefore I'm not gonna lower the price. And because you literally dedicated 1 year to creating this masterpiece, you're like, you know what, I'd rather have it go unsold than sell it for less than it's worth. And the reason why you're so firm on the cost is because you know the dedication that you put into creating this art piece. So it's like, no, I'm not gonna settle and sell it for 300k, sell it for what it's not worth. I know what it's worth. And I feel like that energy is what us girls need to have with our self-esteem and our self-worth. Like when you genuinely actually like invest in yourself and you work on yourself into becoming like the best version of yourself, your standards just increase. Like they just naturally increase. I've always believed that if you take care of yourself and if you invest in yourself, like you won't feel the need to use boys to fill your voids because you already feel whole. And like when you take care of yourself, I feel like it just shines through. Like you just like, you carry yourself different, you move different because you're taking care of yourself, because you feel better. And that energy that I was talking about with the analogy, like when you have that energy with like your self-worth and your self-esteem, it's so much easier to place boundaries because it's like you know who you are and like you know the time and effort you've invested into yourself. So it's like you feel way more comfortable setting boundaries and being unapologetic about it. So often when girls get out of relationships, I hear them say, obviously not every girl, but I do hear often a lot of girls say like, oh, like I don't know who I am. Like now that we've broken up, I don't know who I am, and I feel like I don't have an identity because they identified so hard with being in a relationship. And that's why I think it's so important for girls to have a solid understanding of who they are before they enter a relationship. Because like when you have a solid understanding of who you are and like when you truly know who you are and like what you want in your life, you just tolerate less, and it influences like who you allow in your life and like the type of person that you would date. And that's why I think it's so important in 2021 that we invest in ourselves and we focus on ourselves and we get to know ourselves, so that when we enter a relationship we know who we are, and if something happens and we break up, we don't feel lost. Like we don't feel like we lost our identity. And like it's so important to like know like truly who you are outside of like identities such as like being a student or like your profession, like if you're a nurse or like a teacher, like outside of like all of those identities, like who truly are you? Like it's so important to get to like know yourself. And honestly, self-discovery is the funnest journey ever. The reason why I'm so adamant about like girls like investing in ourselves and like focusing on ourselves is because honestly for me it's like I'm so curious on what the best version of myself looks like. You know, like I always wonder like what would I look like if I consistently like went to the gym, or if I like consistently like ate properly, or like if I read books. Like I'm genuinely curious of like what the best version of myself looks like. And it's like, aren't you also curious on like what the best version of yourself looks like? Like imagine you spent 2021 investing in yourself and focusing on yourself, whatever that means to you. Like if you want to read more books, if you want to like consistently go to the gym, you know, if you want to like save money in your bank account, like stop eating out, like whatever that means to you, like whatever investing in yourself means to you, imagine if you unapologetically, unconditionally, I don't know if I use that word right. Imagine if you imagine if you just like for the rest of 2021, whatever goal you have, like whatever it means to invest in yourself, stop and focus on yourself. Like I feel like for every woman, for every girl, that's different. But like whatever that means to you, imagine for 2021, like you just unapologetically committed to that goal every single week. Imagine like what would you look like? Like I'm so curious. Like for example, I want to read a lot more, because in university I just like didn't prioritize reading for leisure. I just didn't prioritize that. So now that I have a bunch of free time, like I want to like spend 2021 just reading so many books. And I'm so curious, like at the end of the year, like what am I gonna be like how much smarter am I gonna be, or like how much more knowledgeable am I gonna be. Like honestly, spending time to discover like who you are and like what interests you, it's such a fun journey. And I feel like when you go down that journey, you just learn to find peace within yourself. And it's such like, peace is such an addicting feeling. Like I feel like when you like finally find peace within yourself, like you can never go back. And that's why self-discovery is such a fun journey, because it becomes so addicting. And I feel like being curious is like the best way to go about your goals. Like for example, like say in 2021, like you want to like get back into shape, you want to get back into fitness, and rather than having the mindset of like I have to be fit and like I have to go to the gym like 6 times a week and like if I don't do it I'm a failure, rather than having that mindset of like I have to do it, I like to have like a curious mindset of like, what would I feel like, and like what would I look like what would my body look like if I stuck to my fitness goals, or like if I stuck to my fitness schedule, like what would I feel like and what would I look like. For me, like having that curious mindset allows me to like reach my goals, because it's like, oh, I'm just curious, like what would I honestly feel like if I stuck to my fitness schedule, or like what would I honestly feel like if I like read a few chapters every night before bed, you know, versus like, oh my god, like I have to read a chapter every single night before bed, and if I don't do it I'm a complete failure because it's my goal. Like I just think like being curious is so much better than like the like I have to do it mindset, because when you're curious it's just like, what would I be like what would I feel like, how much like more knowledgeable would I be, you know, like I'm just curious, I just want to know. Another reason why I think it's so important for girls to like invest in ourselves and focus on ourselves and like get to know ourselves before entering a relationship, because like when you have a better understanding of like who you are and like what you want out of life, you're able to choose the right person that you want in your life, because you know what you want out of life, and like you know like the type of conversations you want to be having, and like this just like the type of people that you want around you, versus like getting into a relationship and then breaking up and feeling lost and feeling like you don't have feeling like you don't have an identity. Like why not be whole before getting into a relationship, and like why not have a solid understanding of who you are and like what you want out of life before getting into a relationship. Like why not figure that out on your own and then go out and find someone who matches you, rather than like getting with someone and try to like navigate life together and like, you know, I don't know. I just like, I'm such an advocate of girls investing in ourselves and focusing on ourselves and like figuring out who we are and like what we want out of life and like going after that. And if anyone is asking like, how do you invest in yourself and like what does it mean to focus on yourself, honestly I think the answer to that is just to like just think about like genuinely what makes you feel good inside. Like for me, like going to the gym consistently makes me feel good, so I do that a lot, and I consider that to be investing in myself. So like whatever like makes you feel good inside genuinely, that's like what I would say, invest in yourself. And I honestly think you just have to spend time being reflective and curious and just like get to know yourself. Like the curiosity that you have towards like other people, like celebrities, like have that curiosity towards yourself. Like who are you, like truly who are you outside of your professions, like if you're a student, outside of being a student, outside of like your job, outside of your relationship, like who are you? Like learn who you are and invest in that. Like for me, like I'm a very curious person, so for 2021 I'm gonna read like a bunch of books, and I'm so excited. Like I just want to read a bunch of books on so many different subjects and topics, because I want to feed my curiosity. Like I want to invest in my curious mind. Personally, like I'm trying to like take such full advantage of quarantine, because never again, hopefully, will there be another time when it's like the world is giving us permission to just like be a little quieter, like, you know, be a little more in your solitude. So personally, I'm trying to take full advantage of quarantine, and 2021 we're still gonna be in quarantine, unfortunately. I just feel like life is about seasons, and like I don't want to come out of the season of my life feeling like I didn't take full advantage of it, or like feeling like there's so much I could have done that I didn't do. Anyways, I'm done ranting. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching if you're still watching, and comment below like one goal that you have for 2021 regarding like how you're gonna invest in yourself. Like comment below, let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.